Hey there, Stampers. Welcome to another Facebook Live, where every Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, I go live and do a crafty project with you, so welcome. As you join in, be sure to say hi so I know who's here. I am just bringing you up on my iPad so I can see your comments. Here we go. Good morning, Mary Liz. It's been a long time since I've seen you. Thank you for the little treats that you brought yesterday. I can't wait to play with them. Okay, so first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Canada. And like I said, every Friday I go live and do a crafty project with you at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. So this is the project that we made last week, this adorable little over the moon card. It says you're utterly fantastic with one of my favorite stamp sets from the new annual catalog. Love, love, love these little cows. So the way it works is if you comment, ask a question, comment, whatever, you get an entry to win this week's prize, and I always draw the following week. If you share the video, you get 5 entries, and thank you for everybody who shared last week. There are quite a few of you. So I've got everybody's name in here, and I'm going to draw for the winner. I will pop this in the mail for her, and that is Brett. Actually, I will see her in class this week, so I will put it aside for her. All right. Okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna flip you down. We're just gonna jump right in, and I'm gonna flip you down and we'll go ahead and get started. So just bear with me for just a second here. Okay. Good morning, Christina. Good morning, Shara. Happy Friday. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, Barb. Okay, I'm just gonna give it a minute here so that my screen can catch up and I can see what you guys are seeing. Let's move this down a bit. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. Okay, so I had mentioned in my little reminder this morning that I was going to use my favorite stamp set from the new annual catalog. Does anybody have a guess at what that is? Mary Liz, you can't comment because you know what it is. I told you guys last night. So I have several favorites, but this is my absolute favorite from the annual catalog. And if you saw my top 5, it was one of my top 5. So that should narrow it down pretty good. So I'm just gonna give you a minute to see if anybody can guess that. Lip sealed, Mary Liz says. So I actually got it in the mail. It wasn't a pre-order, which that should give you another hint. So I just got it in the mail earlier this week, and I knew that I had to do something with it today. So yeah, I'm excited. And I've actually done a couple things with it. And I think I'm gonna do my swap for my the upcoming incentive trip with it as well, because I just love it so much. The peacock, no, not the peacock. Good guess though. That is one of the ones that I ordered, and it is a favorite. It's probably I think it's an out of the ordinary stamp set. It's not one that probably a lot of people would gravitate towards. Okay, so this is it here. This is Tammy White's $1 Million stamp set. So when you hit $1 million, or when you in sales, you get to work with a designer and design a stamp set that is kind of a little bit more meaningful to you. And she loves photography. And I absolutely adore this stamp set. I love the camera image. I love the greetings in it. It's just so perfect for cards and for scrapbooking. I squealed when I saw it. So I'm excited to share with you today something that I created with it. So this is it here. So this is a Father's Day card. So it's got these great greetings in here. Good morning, Kim. It says, capture the good times. The focus is all on you. It's your day. Smile, oh snap. Snap, click, say cheese. Click, snap, click. Like, it's got some great greetings in it. So I thought it would be appropriate for a Father's Day card. It would also work for a birthday card. So this particular one I made as a Father's Day card. I'm gonna give it to Marcel on Sunday. But the one I'm gonna make today is just, it's gonna be blank inside, just so that whoever wins this card can use it as a birthday card or whatever they want, since Father's Day will be passed by the time they get it. So the focus is all on you, and it's your day all over. And then I kind of did Happy Father's Day. I did not have a Father's Day stamp in my entire collection, so I had to use individual letters to create that. So, all right, so we're gonna create this. We're gonna do a little bit of watercoloring. I'm kind of in a watercoloring mode after last week in coloring all those little cows. So we're gonna do a watercolor background here, and we're gonna do some embossing, and yeah, just have some fun with this stamp set. Okay, so first up, we need a piece of watercolor paper because we're gonna create our background first so that it dries. This piece measures 3 3/4 by 5 inches. We are going to use 2 colors. We're gonna use Old Olive, and I just squeezed my ink pad so it transfers the ink to the lid, just like I did last week. And Pretty Peacock. I love these 2 colors together. All right, and then I'm going to use two different aqua painters just for the sake of time, but you can use definitely. Barb said there's a Father's Day saying, oh, maybe there is. I had a quick look. To be honest, I didn't look really closely. So this one is green. So it's very possible that there is a Father's Day greeting in there. I had some that would work for Father's Day, but it didn't say Father's Day. Like, I was looking for the words Father's Day. Okay, so now, like I said, you can use one aqua painter and just have a scrap piece of either watercolor paper, scrap paper, or paper towel just to clean it in between. But just for the sake of time, I'm just gonna use 2 separate aqua painters so I don't have to clean it in between. Mary Liz says, I love that there are still things that get you excited to play. There is always something that gets me excited to play. Even, I've been doing this it'll be 15 years in July, and I still get excited. Oh, I just, this is how you know that you're doing what you're meant to be doing. Okay, so I'm taking my aqua painter and I am squeezing it to transfer, I think I've got my, oh, I think that's the right side. Squeezing it to wet this just a little bit, and I'm gonna pull some of the peacock, and I'm just going to run it across the top to create stripes. So I'm creating my own kind of watercolor washed striped background. Yes, just confirmed. So it does say Father's Day? Oh, see? Could have saved myself probably 5 minutes stamping those letters individually, and I'm not happy with the way it looked. I guess I should have looked closer. So now I am going to do the green, and I am leaving a little bit of space in between just so that they don't kind of bleed together. Now I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna do a little bit of blue, add a blue stripe on here. You can make it as dark as you want. I want kind of like a washed out look, so I want it quite soft and subtle. And then I'm gonna go in with my green, and I'm just gonna repeat this all the way down. And then I'm gonna do blue again. And then I'll do some green. Ooh, I almost threw it off the table. So what does everybody, oh, I just dipped that in the wrong color. What does everybody have planned for this weekend? Anything fun? Good morning, Amy. We're creating a little watercolor wash striped background for our card for today. Oh, are you camping right now? You're watching from the campground? That's awesome. Okay, so as you can see, you can still create a similar look if you don't wet it first, because I'm getting distracted here and I'm not following my process here. Okay, so there we go. We've got our background. We're gonna set that aside to let it dry. Mary Liz is going for tea on White Avenue with her best friend. Okay. All right, so I'll put those away. I'm gonna set this aside to dry. Now, if you look at the card again, you'll notice that I've got some splatters, because that is another one of my favorite things that I love to do right now. So we're gonna do some splatters. I actually went ahead and I pre-did a background, just because you don't wanna do it while it's wet. Oh, did you have your carpal tunnel surgery? So Pinterest, yeah, it'll probably be a little bit before you stamp again, hey? Probably not too long though. Okay, so I've just protected my surface a little bit. I've got a dry piece of the background, so you really want to make sure it's dry, because you don't want it to spread in your wet spots. And I just use one of our empty embellishment containers. So this has a little bit of water in it. And then I use the lid, and I want to do black splatters. Mary Liz asks, did you have to spritz the back to get it to lay flat again? You know, I've heard that works. To be honest, I forgot about it and I didn't try it. This one, after it dried, it kind of went flat, but you'll see my solution to having it lay flat afterwards. I just add extra adhesive, basically, is what I do. So now I've got a paintbrush, and you can use your aqua painter for this, but I like to save my aqua painters for just coloring. So I've wet it, and then I'm going to dip it in the black, and then I'm gonna splatter. And it's as simple as that. And you can do this in any color of ink. And I don't know, I seem to be going through a phase where I'm splattering lots, especially in my scrapbooking. So I'm gonna set that aside, let it dry, and then we will go ahead and work on our focal point. And let me I just have some splatters on here. I don't want to get it on my card, so just give that a quick wipe. Okay, so we'll move this away. And now we are going to bring in a piece of black cardstock, and basically you want it to be big enough to stamp your camera image. Amy says she spritzes with Stampin' Right markers. So Amy, can you explain how you do that? Because I find they're not wet enough. Or do you wet them first? Or do you have our old spritzer, that thing that you used to squeeze? Because we used to have that, and you could get like a nice fine mist with that. I love that little tool. Okay, so I am going to use our embossing buddy, because I want to use white embossing powder on our black cardstock, and I just find that removing any static or any oil residue from your fingerprints just helps the powder stick where you want it to stick. And look at this, guys. This excites me too. A brand new Versamark ink. I am so excited. It's been years since I've had a brand new one. Nothing quite like a brand new ink pad. Okay, so I've inked up the camera image, and you'll notice that I did that backwards. Any large stamp, it's often easier to ink with your stamp upside down and ink on top rather than doing it the other way around. Kim Lewis says, I rub it against the lid with the tip of the marker. So you mean you take you squeeze your ink pads, and then you use the same color marker and dip it in the lid, and then and then splatter? Is that what you mean? Can you confirm that, Liz? Liz, Kim. Okay, so now I'm gonna stamp this on my cardstock because I've never had success splattering with my Stampin' Right markers, so I would love to know some tricks. Okay, so Versamark ink is a watermark ink, so it's very subtle. You can hardly see it on there. That would create a great background just as is, but we want that to really pop. No, just the marker. Huh, okay, I'm gonna have to try that. Okay, so I'm gonna dump some white powder on here and tap off the excess. Make sure it's all nicely covered. And look at that, so nice. You're gonna see this camera on lots of things. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring in my heat tool, and I don't think my heat tool will actually reach, oh, it might get pretty close. So I'm gonna heat it up. And it will turn from a powdery look to a nice shiny glossy white. Okay, so can you see how that, oh, I think it needs just a little bit more here. Okay, so see how it really pops off the page once you emboss it. So then we'll fussy cut it. Here's one that's done already. Barb says she's done it with blends. So how did you do it with blends? Okay, so let's bring in the rest of our pieces here. We've got a thick white, whisper white card base, just a standard size card, so it measures 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Just gonna use my bone folder to make it nice and crisp. I've got a piece of basic black cardstock that measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. Let's pull in our, it's not quite dry, but I think it's dry enough that we can do our stamping on here. So you can see if we pull in the card again, you can see that I stamped "It's Your Day" multiple times all down the side there. So I'm just gonna grab a piece of scrap paper here so I can put it down the side. And I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock ink and the "It's Your Day" stamp. And I'm basically just gonna repeatedly stamp. So "It's Your Day." And some of them I will stamp off, sorry. I can't even tell if this is straight. I'm hoping it's straight. Did I use watercolor paper or shimmery white? I used watercolor paper, Amy. Barb asked mentioned flicking motion as well with broader end. So just basically what I did with the paintbrush, except you did it with Stampin' blends and you got a splatter? That's pretty cool. Stamp off and then stamp on here. Okay, let's see how this is gonna sit. Okay, we want a few more higher up. And maybe a couple more down below. So can you see I'm trying to offset it? It does look like it's a little bit at an angle. That's okay. You won't notice it too much once I get my camera on here. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, and then while I have my ink out, let's just set that aside for a second. I've just got a scrap of watercolor paper, and I'm going to use the greeting that says, "The focus is all on you." And I'm gonna stamp that. I apologize if my head is in the way here. Actually, let's take it off of this so I can see. Okay, and then I'm going to use my scissors and trim up the middle so that I can flag the end, and then snip up either side. Okay, and close this up so I don't get ink on anything. All right, and then we'll trim across that, but I'm gonna wait until I stick it on. This, I've got a scrap piece of pretty peacock that I'm gonna pop in behind so you can see it there, because I just found that the white on the white subtle background, I just found that it kind of got lost, and I really wanted that to stand out a little bit more, so I just put just a little bit of a border down the side there. Shara says, "I love your tip for flagging ends." Yes, you can get a relatively even flag by cutting up the center first and then trimming into the center. Okay, adhesive. So I'm just gonna stick a little bit of adhesive on there and add that to this scrap of peacock, and then I'll trim this little excess. Yeah, punches help too. You can use a square punch. You can use, oh, well, that wasn't very smart. I didn't do it all the way to the end. Okay, let's fix that. Put a little bit more adhesive on here. Let's do it this way. This time we will do it all the way to the end. Yeah, so to flag your cardstock as well, we have a punch called a triple banner punch, and it will do 3 different sizes. And you can do smaller than those 3 sizes. But you can also use, like if you've got the old hexagon punch, you can use that. You can use a square punch. So there's lots of different ways that you can get the look of a flag without actually having to cut that. And I find it's just, it's quick and easy to just do it with a pair of scissors. Okay, so, oh, you're welcome, Mary. Okay, so I'm gonna flip this over. I'm hoping it's dry. Let's just put this down just in case it's not. Okay, so Mary Liz, back to your question about how to get it to lay flat. You can, like I said, or like you mentioned, you can miss the back, and then it's supposed to kind of make it curl back up so it will lay flat. Or if you are just very generous with your adhesive, so I don't generally use a lot of adhesive, but on something like this, I will cover all 4 sides and even add a little bit in the middle, just so that it sits nice and flat. So that is way more than I would ever use normally. But to get it to lay flat, it helps. So now I'm just putting it in the center of this black piece. I get a nice even border. Just trying to be careful not to push on those bigger blobs there. I think they're still a bit damp. Okay, so there we go. And then this is going to go, actually let's add our flag first. So let's add a bit of adhesive on here. Okay, so we will put this up in this corner like this, and then we'll just trim off that excess. Okay, and then this is gonna get stuck on our card base. I'm gonna bring in that scrap again. And I'll use a little bit more than normal adhesive on this piece as well. Not quite as much as on the other one. Amy says she uses the tailored tag or the triple banner punch. Oh yeah, the tailored tag would do it too. That's right. Good suggestion. So I'm just centering that. So I've got a little bit more of a white border than I do the black, because I just wanted the black underneath there to make it pop a little bit. And then, now I know this is retired. It's our basic black baker's twine, but it was on, if you're on my email list, I sent a list of 4 things that are must-haves for every crafter, and that was retiring. And black baker's twine was one of them. Black and white baker's twine are must-haves in my opinion. Sometimes you need just a little something to add, to finish off a project, and you don't want to add a ton of bulk. So I couldn't have added, if I had ribbon, I couldn't have added a ribbon bow up there without adding so much bulk and likely covering up some of my words, and it would have been a little too heavy. So this is just perfect. It adds just the right touch, and so I often find that I go to black and white baker's twine. Amy suggested also coloring the white baker's twine. Yes, you can do that too, but that is so much work. But yes, you can. If you want a custom color, you could definitely do that. Okay, so now I'm going to take my camera and use some dimensionals to stick it on. I'm all about quick and easy, and if I have to fuss with something, I just won't bother. I'm kind of, well, I don't know if I would necessarily call myself a lazy crafter, but I like quick and easy. There are things that I do like to spend time on, like I do like to color, I do like to fussy cut. Like there are some things that I am willing to spend time on, and then there's others where I just could not be bothered. And that's probably why you don't see me do a ton of over-the-top kind of techniques. There we go. So it's done. It is added work, but someone doesn't have black, then they can color the white with. Yes, yes, definitely. I mean, that is a great solution. If you don't have white, if you don't have black baker's twine, you can definitely color it. All right, so there we go. Isn't that cute? Such a great card. So I wanted to show you something else. I loved this card so much that I decided to repeat the technique on the first page of my travel journal for an upcoming trip. So I basically did the same watercolor technique in the background. I used the same camera. I just used that little image that's in there, and I stamped that in Pretty Peacock, popped it up, and instead of the "It's Your Day" in the background, I put "Capture the Good Times" repeatedly over top, and then I just added a little cork embellishment up there. So that is the first page for my traveler's journal my traveler's notebook for an upcoming trip that I'm going on. And I will share with you more once I have a few more pages done. It's not quite ready to share yet, but I did want to show you how I used that same idea and just used it in a different way. I love that. You'll get another idea. Actually, if you have not yet seen my Wednesday blog post, Wednesday from this past week, so what would it have been, the 12th? If you visit my blog at www.stamptreasures.com, Wednesday's blog post, I shared a video. Thanks to Mary Liz. At our team meeting, she did the most adorable bookmark. And so I shared how to make that bookmark, and I also showed how you can convert that exact template to use it as a gift card holder on a card. So be sure to check that out. And I think that's it for today. So if there's anything, there's a new host code from now until the end of the month, and then starting June 28th, which I think is a Friday. Yeah, June 28th, there will be another hostess code and some little perks for purchasing, because July I will be celebrating my 15th anniversary. So I've got something big planned. So you'll definitely want to check back for that. So I think that's it. I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend, and I hope you get a chance to spend some time with the men in your life. And yeah, and maybe even get a bit creative. All right, take care. Talk to you later.